everywhere, every town, every city, every village had temples. Every half kilometer there was a temple. And kids would get their basic education in temples. It was not just a place for worship, it was a place for education. And in big cities, the big temples would be places of much higher education. And then you would have the Mahaviharas, and on top of that, you had the great universities. Nobody was ever charged money for admission to any of these places. It was always free for boys as well as girls. And so-called we have these castes. Everybody was given education.
But how about the saying that caste people were discriminated?
That's what they claim. Well, during British times, the British themselves collected data. Before they destroyed India's education system, they collected data about India's education system. The records are still there with the British. And the writer Dharampal, he went through all the British records and he wrote this volume of books called The Beautiful Tree.
Okay.
It is in the late 19th, early 20th century, somewhere around that time. Okay. The data is from the 19th century. And if you look at the data, the British data, which the British collected, in temples, children of every caste were given education, and boys as well as girls were given education. And typically, the so-called lower castes had more students than the so-called higher castes.
This can't be real. No.
Please read the book, The Beautiful Tree, by Dharampal. What is the percentage of Brahmins in Tamil Nadu? 2%?
It's very beautiful.
So clearly, they will be greatly underrepresented in schools because they are only 2% of the population. So the facts are what we are not taught. We are taught lies in the education system, okay? In our today's education system. So these are the facts. Read the book, The Beautiful Tree by Dharampal. I think it's available online. It was written during British times. It was compiled using British data. We did not invent the data. The British themselves collected the data.
But all our lives we were told, like, of course, the education was not, given to everybody. It was discriminated against the poor, the lower caste people, and the people were not allowed inside the temple. And we have, if we go back to like 100 years back, not even 100, like 70, 80 years back, we have leaders here who claimed to actually bring the, lower class people into the temple who were, restricted from entering one. So, but how does it, like, just 200 years back, it was all different? I don't understand.
Imagine if you are giving the same education to children of all the castes. And will you then have a different system and standards for temples? Because education happened in temples.
Yeah, but it's really unbelievable for me.
We have been
really
taught lies.
Yeah, because...
And this thing, the caste system. Now, if I make the claim that the caste system is a British invention, people will say I'm a stupid liar. The truth is this, that we always had the Varna Jati system.
Okay.
It was way more complicated than 4 castes. When the Greek ambassador Megasthenes came to India in the court of Chandragupta Maurya, he wrote an account of India, the Indian society. He said that the society of India is divided into 7 classes.
Okay.
7, not 4.
Yeah.
7 classes, including the farmers and the artisans and the soldiers and so on and so forth. 7 different classes, he said. So, just 2,500 years ago, which is like yesterday for us in India, we had 7 classes in India. And in India, we have the Varna Jati system. Varna means what occupation do you have? Your family. Typically, occupations run in families across the world.
Yeah.
In England, we have surnames like Thatcher, like Smith, and so on, which are occupations, which run in families. The same happened in India. In any functioning society, you will have division of labor. People will do different things in order to have a functioning society. So we had the Varna Jati system. In every Varna, you had lots of different Jatis. Jatis means your family lineages and all that. It's a very complex system. The British could not understand it. It was too complicated for the simple British mind. So they created the system of 4 castes.
Okay.
And then they made it compulsory that when you have a birth certificate, you have to mention one of the 4 castes. So any government document in India today, it needs to mention your caste.
Yeah.
And so now it has become a reality.
Yeah.
Now it has become a reality. There are 4 castes. Historically, it was lots of jatis and a bunch of varnas. That's how it was historically. So this 4 division system was created by the British. I'm not saying there was no, the segmentation of society. In any functioning society, you will have a division of labor.
There will be. Even now we have.
In a corporation,
Yeah.
can everybody do the CEO's job?
Not at all. Not at all. Of course.
In the army, can everybody be the general?
No.
In India, can everybody do Mr. Modi's work?
No.
So clearly, you're going to have a division of labor, a proper structured system. But in India, it's evil. Everywhere else, it's fine. So we have to think logically. I am not saying there are no problems in India. In the past 1,000 years of foreign occupation, lots of problems have crept into Indian society. We need to address the problems and solve them. And even at the best of times, think about imperial Rome at the highest peak of its greatness. You think there are no problems there
Of course.
in society?
Yeah.
Think of the British Empire, the most evil empire that ever existed. You think there was no problem there? Read the books of Charles Dickens. Have you read any Charles Dickens book?
No.
Okay. Oliver Twist is an example. David Copperfield is another example. This is from the 19th century when the British Empire was so big the sun never set. The richest empire in the world. Charles Dickens' books are about poverty. Crushing poverty. So in such an incredibly rich and powerful empire, why was there so much widespread crushing poverty? Because it was a horribly inegalitarian society. Every society has problems, but in India we are singled out as the evil ones. So we have to understand that we have to see the world in the right context. I'm not saying there were no problems in Indian society, but I think overall we are a far better society historically than all these other people who pass judgment upon us. So we have to stop judging ourselves by foreign standards. Of course, every society has problems. We need to identify and fix the problems and keep on doing it. But it is, I think, high time that we stop blaming ourselves for all the problems others have created for us.
So we know there were